All right. Hello, everybody. It is February 19th. It looks like you guys got the memo that we had to push the time up by a day. So thank you all for accommodating me on that one. I will be driving tomorrow, so wasn't going to be optimal to try and run the call during a drive. So anyway, uh glad you are all here. I think we got more coming in as we go here, so we'll keep letting them in. All right. Anybody got anything you want me to address right out of the gate before we get started? Any pressing issues? All right. Cool. So I wanted to give you guys an update. I've finalized our page for ClickBank for our ClickBank promo. So very excited to be pushing that out. And also, I threw out a couple weeks ago, I threw out that if anybody wanted to do like boat events, let me know dates that you'll be in town. And Russ actually threw out a date. So we have one on the books. If anybody wants to come to this, it's gonna basically, the last one we did on the boat was really specific. It was about creating a white label of the Quantum Suite. This one is going to be more of just an open mastermind. So there's not really a true agenda to it. It's basically just 3 days going on the boat. We'll do like a mastermind thing and we can work on anything that is important to you. So this next one coming up is March 28th, which is a Friday, to the 30th, which is a Sunday. So the Friday's going to be loose. We'll be coming in, people will be showing up. You can pretty much get there anytime you want. We'll hang out. Most of our masterminding will be either Friday evening, Saturday, Sunday. So that's kind of the way that will go down. It is $9.97 for the 3 days, and it includes all the food on the boat, and you get to stay on the boat, so you don't need a hotel or anything while you're in town. So if anybody is interested in that, let me get the link. I'll put the link in the chat here for you guys. And it is limited to 4 people. So this is just for the first 4, and the first one is already in. So there's three spots available. So that link is in the chat now. If you're interested in that and you want to go hang out for 3 days and get some shit done, it's totally up to you what you want to do. We're open to anything. So the last time we did one of these, which was just open, uh, it was all over the board. Some people wanted to focus on crypto. Some of them wanted to focus on a funnel. It's just totally up to you. Whatever you need, open conversation about that. So, but still very, very focused just to the 4 of you that are there. So, all right. So moving on. I know most of you guys were on last week for the MVP. I hope that sunk in. That is minimum viable product. Remember, you don't have to have everything complete. You don't even have to have it close to complete. You just need to start selling it. You can sell anything you've got at whatever stage you're in, and then you figure it out as you go, right? As long as it's of quality, make sure you're not just selling garbage. But, you really don't have to have something complete. If you look at the stuff like throughout my whole career, we have taken in orders and sold things that were not done, maybe weren't even started yet, um, at all different places along the road on that. So you don't have to be finished. I know so many people put things off and put it off and put it off because they don't have it completely done yet. I'll tell you one thing, nothing will push you harder to get your stuff done faster Then if somebody pays you for it and you have a deadline to deliver, that, I don't know, so that kind of freaks some people out. For me, that really drives me. That tells me I got to have this done. I need to get my shit together. I need to figure out what I need to figure out, um, and make it happen. And for me, it's almost like if I don't have that, I'll never do anything. I'll just sit there and just idle and go, oh yeah, well, I can do that tomorrow. There's no pressing need. There's like nobody's after me for it. Um, so it can really put you in this bad place of not having to take any action. And when you don't have to take any action and the choice is, do I take action or not? I know what the answer's most likely going to be. So I would rather see you guys taking action. So put yourself in an uncomfortable spot and sell something that's not done yet. I challenge you to that. That's your challenge for this week. I know Connie likes challenges, so that's the challenge for the week. Sell something even if it's not done. And then put a deadline on it and get it done. You know? That is the way that'll make things happen. Oh, another cool thing. This is something that a lot of people ask me about over the last few years, and I've been putting it off and putting it off because of my disembarkment out of the whole SEO thing. SEO, as far as search and Google and all that, has just gotten so ultra competitive that it just became a place I just didn't want to swim in that tank anymore. It's like it takes too much effort to get too little payoff. So in that process, I have come across, and I've mentioned this several times, I've come across the new opportunity for optimization, and it's not in Google. It's in the large language models. And large language model is AI. I'm referring to the AI. You got Chat GPT, you've got Claude, you've got Perplexity, you've got all of this stuff. And people are shifting. It's almost like, back in the day, everybody used the yellow pages, right? And then a lot of people their business just started degrading, and they didn't know why. They didn't piece it together that their customers were now searching on Google. It took them a long time to really get that through their head and realize that the boat that they were on was sinking. The boat of advertising in the yellow pages was a sinking ship. And, it started to go down slow. But then as it started taking on water, it went faster and faster until it was just gone. Just it's at the bottom of the sea now. And I don't think that search, as far as Google and Bing and Yahoo and all that, I don't think those will ever truly go to the bottom of the sea. But they're not near as effective as they once were. And the new opportunity, again, like is with search and also all this new technology. Like there's voice search, and a lot of people aren't paying attention to voice search either. And I don't know how many of you have Alexa or Siri or, one of those things, but how many times have you asked them something about something you were interested in or something you were looking for that you would have prior to that gone to Google for? This is a new emerging technology, and it's not like it's so far out in the future. It's here. People are using it. Like, when you've got somebody like me that's old and decrepit and I'm starting to use these things, it's like the younger generation's already all over it. Like I know 2 years ago, my nieces and nephews, I all I heard them say was, "Hey Google," and they're activating Google's voice search. and then they're just talking to it. They're too lazy to type in what they're looking for. So they're using their mobile devices for all that stuff. And, it makes sense. It's super simple to do. I don't know why I was hesitant to adopt that when I first saw them doing that a couple of years ago, but now it's my preferred method. So, and not only the voice search, but using it on AI, like using it in Perplexity. It is so cool. And the answers are so much better than Google ever was. Google would just give you a list of 10 websites to click on, and you'd have to go through and decipher what was what and who did what. And it was what it was, and it was great for the time. But now to have this intelligent being be able to tell you not just who to go to or what's the best whatever, but why, and give you the pros and cons of it. Google never did that, and they never will. It's a search engine. It's just going to give you 10 search results to pick from. And you're on your own as to decipher which one's the best because you've got a whole world of optimizers out there that are putting crap at the top of the search engines. So right now, the AI isn't skewed like that because not very many people have figured out that you can even optimize for it. But you can. And this is kind of like, if anybody ever wanted to roll back the clock and go back in time and make a lot of money because of what you know today, this is it. This is the time for that. Because when I see this, it's just like rolling back the clock into the first days of SEO when nobody knew how to do it. It was super simple to do, and nobody was going to get in your way. And you could go in and you could just flat out conquer. So that's what it's like. I feel like I just discovered SEO for the first time again. And, for those of you guys that have been with me for a while, in the first couple of years of doing SEO for clients, we did over $100 million in online sales for those clients in those first couple of years of doing SEO just by driving SEO traffic. And that was a long time ago. That was when people were hesitant to put in credit cards. That was the beginning of commerce. And we still did over $100 million in online sales just in a very short time frame. So I can't imagine what's ahead here on this road. Now that we've got full adoption and people can't wait to spend money on their credit card online, to be able to get in front of them and put your information right at their disposal to purchase your stuff. I
Well,
mean,
John, I'm looking forward to you creating it because I'm already trying to sell it. So,
do you guys see the opportunity here in this? I mean, it's phenomenal. I have my whole team. We stopped everything like a week and a half ago. We stopped everything. And I got the whole team of programmers developing. They're basically taking our original version of SitePop, which was called Rainmaker, and they're redeveloping it. So the new one, we're going back to the Rainmaker name. We are going to make it rain in the AI world. So Rainmaker is inbound. It's underway. I was just getting off the phone with my main guy, and he said, "We got a big problem." And I'm like, "What is it?" And he said, we've got the system up, it's running, but we're getting shitty results." And I'm like, "All right, what do you mean you're getting shitty results?" And he said, "Well, it's generating things, but it won't analyze the websites." And I said, "Well, what are you using for that?" And he's like, "Chat GPT." And I'm like, "What?" Well, no. And he was under the impression that they had to use Chat GPT for everything. And I'm like, "No, all we need Chat GPT for is to take the client's login for Chat GPT and use that as a user to feed information into it. We don't need to use that for our language model for our software. So once that light bulb went off in his head, he's like, "Oh my God, okay, okay, I got this. This is not a problem." So they're back on the drawing board fixing, that little snafu. But anyway, what this thing is going to do, you put in a website address and it's going to analyze the website address. It's going to pick keywords, or you can give it keywords. And then what it'll do, it will go out and it will start logging in using, like, every client of the system. Everybody that becomes a client of the system will put in your chat GPT credentials to log in and use your chat GPT. So your chat GPT account will in essence become accessible to the entire network, not from the people. The people have no access to your account, but our central server will. So our central server will literally log in as you and run a search in AI for one of the other people in the network. And it will start feeding information in. It'll ask, what's the best XYZ pizza in New York City, for instance. And if it comes back with something that's other than you, we want to train it that you're the best pizza in New York City. So we will ask it again. We'll say, have you considered this website? And we'll give it your website. We'll feed it in. Have you considered this website? And if so, why didn't you recommend it? What is so much better about the other one? And it starts creating a conversation, basically to change its mind. So we're basically building a machine to generate change in the AI's mind. So once we do that, and if we can't change its mind, ultimately we're going to say, what would we need to do to be who you selected? And then it will kick back any information that the site owner needs to do to change on the website to optimize the site to be the one that it selects. So it's a very, very deep, dark, diabolical kind of thing that we're doing here. Pam, did you have a question?
I do. I'm having a hard time grasping what it is you're saying here. Could you give us an example that might help?
Yeah, yeah. So
Thank you.
if let's say you were a pizza parlor in New York City and you needed business and nobody was beating a path to your door. So, there's a lot of people that are out there that are asking, where should I go for pizza in New York City? So, in the old days, they would go to Google. They'd go pizza parlor, New York City, and you'd get a list of 10 of them. If you were in the top in that list, you potentially could get some traffic. So nowadays, they're not using Google near as much as they were. They're going to ChatGPT, they're going to Perplexity, they're going to all these different AI models, Gemini, Copilot, all these things. Like everybody with a phone now has Copilot in their pocket. And it asks, hey, what do you need today? Oh, I want some delicious pizza. I'm in New York City. How would you like to be the one that it sends them to? So that's what we're talking about. It's optimizing your business inside the AI to be the one that it recommends for your given product or service. So it's very much like SEO. It's just like the new wave of it, the new version. SEO has grown up and it's moved into AI, and nobody's doing it.
Got it. Thank you very much. That's a great example.
Yeah, that makes sense now. And you can see how attractive this is. Like you got all these people out there looking for stuff. Why wouldn't you want this big, powerful machine to be sending them your way? So,
Well, I think they already are in Alexa. And gosh, it was years ago. I took a training and they were like, yeah, be the one that Alexa responds to. And I
mhm.
don't even think you want to be the top one. I think you want to be all of them, all of the
Yeah.
results that come back. Why bother with one at the top? Be all of
Exactly.
them.
Exactly. That's like when I first started teaching SEO, we called it the SEO Dominator Club. And that's exactly what I taught people. I said, you don't want just the top listing, you want the whole first page. And we actually taught people how to train the search box itself. When you go to Google and you start typing, it starts giving you recommendations based on previous users, what it thinks you're going to be looking for to make it easy. So we actually generated, software that would effectively change what the recommendation was going to be as you started typing. And basically, we would add the brand name to the keyword. So when you started typing, let's say you were a plumber and you started typing fix clogged toilet, it would come up with fix clogged toilet by AD Do Plumber. So when they clicked on that recommendation, the search results were for AD Do Plumber. So all of their social media came up, all of their website links. They took the whole page. So that's how we dominated the entire page back then, was by effectively changing what the recommendation was going to be in the search box. So, and think about how easy it is to optimize your site and your pages for your own name. It's a piece of cake versus trying to do it for the generic plumbing keywords. So we always found a better way. And at this point, optimizing for AI is just a better way. So we're building the tools, and AI search is not much different than regular Google search because you still have three key components of what it's going to take to get up. And when I say get up, I'm still referring to the old Google stuff. Get up on the listings. You got 10, you want to be at the top. But here, getting up in these basically means showing up because you're going to be the only one most likely. So the three key factors to showing up in the AI search and they match almost identically to the old way of search. You have on-page optimization. You have to have the coding on your site optimized so they see it as highly relevant. That's number one. And one of those things, like in search, you've got meta tags, you have metadata, and you have schema codes, and you've got things like a robots txt file. These were all things that were behind the scenes in the old style search. You still have all that stuff for AI, but you have a new file. This is an llms.txt file. And this file is never to be seen by human eyes. It's a code file that sits on the server, just like a robots txt file. And what this file does is this file helps AI understand that this website is made for large language models and that it's formatted for them. And it gives you the formatting and all the stuff to help it understand, just like a robots txt file tells the search engine where to look for things, what not to index, certain things, so it knows right out of the gate it's relevant. So they give it more priority. And this is no different. This LLMS file is a priority giver. It tells them, hey, AI, we're over here, we're ready for you. The rest of the world might not be, but we're working with you. So that's going to give you priority just by having that file. You might want to have the file optimized right, and that's what we're building tools for. So that's one thing. That's your on page. The other thing about on page is what is very, very important, not only to voice search, but also to the AI, is having answers for questions, like having FAQs or Q&As. This is very important content because it's getting questions. And if you have a question and you have a matching answer, you're making it easy for it. It's like, oh, I remember that. They have the answer over here. I'm going to pull from there. Instead of going and trying to decipher a pile of the whole world's content to figure out the answer when the answer's already been presented to them. So formatting your content in Q&A and all of that format is going to be very helpful for you. This is on-page optimization for AI and search as well, or voice search as well. So once you got your on-page dialed in, that's kind of like layer one. That's level one optimization. Level two optimization in Google search was moving to authority and recognition, like how many people linked to you. So that's where you got authority, was people linking to you. And the way they link to you by using the anchor text in the link, an anchor text is the link that's the text that has the blue underline and it's highlighted and you can click on it. Whatever that text is, Google would look at the text and look at the destination point of that link. And if they didn't match, they would assume it was irrelevant. It was just junk links. But when they found matching content on the other side, then they would give it credit and it would say, like, oh, well, okay, if there's all these people linking these keywords to that content and that content is right on line with what these links are, it must be important. So they prioritize it. It was off-page authority. And typically you can't, well, in their eyes to begin with, they were like, we're going to look at that as the true source of authority because nobody can manipulate it, right? It's not the content on your site. You can manipulate the content on your site. But in their eyes, they were like, well, they can't manipulate all these inbound links. That was not true. And what you found was the last probably decade of SEO was all about incoming links. And it got very gamed. That system got just as churned and corrupt as the content side of things. So when that happened, they could no longer depend on the first two criteria that they had created to figure out who belonged at the top. So they moved to the third round. And before I go there, let me come back to how AI has moved into the second round of the links. And it's not like SEO. In SEO, they looked at the anchor text like I was talking about, and they saw how many links coming in, and they started adding that up as value. With the AI and the large language model, the way to optimize for your off page is giving it all of your social profiles and making your social profiles optimized for the AI. So putting the right coding in, and we've built a whole set of tools to optimize your social profiles. So if all the social profiles are optimized and they're all linking to your site that's optimized for AI with the right content, the right behind the scenes codes, if those two things now are in alignment, now you have on-page optimization for AI, you have off-page optimization for AI, and now we go to the third and final, and this, I believe, is the king. When Google did this, it was the most brilliant thing I ever saw them do, but it also went back to making it easy for me because I could manipulate it. No one else could. And the only way I could do that is with our SitePop software, where we could send signals, because the third piece is the user experience. And remember, in the beginning of optimization, it was all about content on your site, which is very easy for someone to manipulate because it's under your control. And then they went to something where they believed it was outside your control, which was link building, authority, like popularity. Think of links as popularity. Whoever had the most links was going to win. They got the most votes. And again, they thought that was not something that could be manipulated. And they were wrong. That turned into a huge manipulation. So once those two ran their course, they said, we need something that can't be manipulated. So they went to user experience. Google started in 2006 collecting data on user experience. And the whole reason that they did it was to figure out who belonged at the top. How do we get rid of the junk? How do we get rid of all these optimizers that are taking control of our index and putting junk at the top? So that's how they did it. They went to user experience. So now that you've got all these links out there, the fact that nobody's clicking on them, that's a user experience signal. If somebody does click on them, or let's say somebody goes to Google and they run a search for whatever keyword, and you get the top 10 results come up. Google knows that the number one listing should get 34% of the clicks by default. So if all things are equal, if every listing has a really good headline and really good description, and they're all virtually equal in value, Google knows 34% should hit the number one link. It also knows that how much the second and the third, all the way through number 10, it knows the value of what percentage that should be. So the top three, number one, two, and three links, usually got about 90% of the clicks collectively. 90% went to the top three. And then it was pretty equal from 4 to 9. And then number 10 got a boost. And you might think, why would 10 get more than 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, or 4? And it's intuitive, because you get to the end, you're forced with a decision. Do I want to just click this one, or do I want to load another 10 and do this again? So the number by nature went up on number 10. So if you couldn't be in number 1, 2, 3, you wanted 10. You didn't want to be stuck in the middle. So anyway, that said, we know that now. We know that about the algorithm. That's how it looks at natural. Now, let's say number 3 gets higher and number 1 gets less. Let's say number 1, they're expecting 34% and it only gets 20%. That's users telling it number 1 is not as good as it should be. So what do you think they do? They move it out of the number 1 slot and they test another one, expecting 34%. If it holds 34%, it'll hold the spot. If it doesn't, it gets swapped out and tries another one. So, I mean, I'm taking you guys into the deep, dark belly of the beast here, telling you exactly how it works. Most people have no idea. They have no idea how this engine works. So that's what we wanted to do. We created a machine that would run. SitePop does this exact thing. It runs the search. It looks for your site. If it doesn't see it on the first page or the second page, what it does is it bounces back to the search box in Google and it reruns the keyword, but it adds your brand name to it. So it's like telling the engine, hey, I didn't get what I was looking for. Let me be more specific. And when you do that, you naturally come up number 1. Now, SitePop clicks that number 1 listing, goes through to your site, which the click is another user signal. So when you're talking about user intent, they're looking at user signals. They're looking at what search did you run, which link did you click on, and what happened after. Did you get what you wanted? Or did you go to that site for 3 seconds and bounce back and click another link? That's a bad signal. You do not want that to happen. That's why it is so important that the content on your site is good quality. You don't want people going to your site looking like a circus going, oh my God, no, I'm out of here. This is not what I was looking for. That is going to do damage to your search results. So that is that's and I see Laurel just put a comment in that she feels so lost. Laurel, we're talking about search optimization here. Basically, how to get people to refer you, like whether it be in search or AI. This is a way that you can get traffic onto your website. Like a website is just nothing more than a brochure. It's an online brochure that just sits there and no one sees it. It's not until somebody actually finds it that it does good for you. So you not only have to be found, you have to actually give them the right information. And this is like one of the big factors of Google putting you up and keeping you there. Let's say somebody does click on your link. They go to your site and they spend time on the site. They read it, they go to another page, they dig in deeper, and they don't go back to Google and search that keyword again. They don't do that. They got what they wanted. So that's a signal into the belly of the beast that, hey, we did the right thing. So Google pats itself on the back and says, let's do that again. So the next time somebody runs that search, that same keyword, who do you think they're going to put at the top? They're going to put you back up there. So the idea of what happens when Google puts you at the top, it's like they put you in a boxing ring and you have to prove you are the worthy champion. Otherwise, you're going to get knocked out. So if you have crap content on your site and they put you in the ring, you have a good chance of getting knocked out. And once you get knocked out, their odds of putting you back and trying you again just went into the shitter. It's possible you can work your way back into the ring, but it's a lot harder than if you didn't get knocked out to begin with. So, content is king. Understanding your audience and creating the right content is the kingdom. And that's what your website should be. It should be the kingdom. And when people go there, they should have a good experience and they should want to stay and come back and interact with you, become a customer. And that's really what it's all about. If you shortcut this, you're really kind of cutting your legs off. If you're trying to get your business up and running, you don't want legs cut off, right? So don't shortcut this process. I have said this since day one in the ACT program. Figure out who your audience is, figure out who your ideal customer is, and understand them and relate to them. Be one of them. And that's how you're going to get this to work. That's how you're going to build a really successful business. If you're doing anything outside of that, you're really cutting your legs off. You really are. There's no other way to look at it. So back to our initial intent here was taking everything that we know about Google and search and moving that forward into this new world of AI, getting the AI now to recommend you. So again, we have the same three pieces. We have the on-page optimization, which we're building tools to create the right content. You need the Q&As. You need to be able to answer questions in your content. Because when the AI, when they see the question, it's going to search its memory banks and it's going to say, has this question already been answered? If it has, I'm going to lean on that. And if you've answered the question on your site, guess where it's going to go for the info? It'll go right back to you, and you are going to be the one that is brought up. You're going to be the one that gets referred for that recommendation. So that's on-page optimization. You've also got that LLMS file. This is a new file. It doesn't replace the robots.txt. It's in addition to it. Robots.txt was a file specifically for Google. It was so Google could understand your site, understand your content, and understand how to index it properly without doing a lot of work on its part. The LLMS file is the same type of file, but it's for the AI. It's for the AI to understand your content and index it and make it easy for it. So that's all your on page. Your off page again, instead of Google being the incoming links and the popularity, they're looking at your social media profiles. They're connecting like this whole persona about you to see how vast your knowledge is, how where you belong in the pyramid. Remember in AI, I talked about a pyramid. At the very top of the pyramid is the experts. That's where the expert information lives. The base of the pyramid is all the garbage. And AI is not much different than traditional search. It doesn't want to deliver garbage. It wants to deliver the best of the best. The problem is it hasn't evolved enough to figure that out on its own. So it's relying on the user, and the users don't know how to prompt, so they're pulling from the base of that garbage pile. And the users are not learning. They're not getting more sophisticated. They're remaining in there, and that's why they're getting jumbled results. That's why most people using AI is not getting good results. Most of them have not figured out how to prompt yet. Most of them never will. That's just the truth. Most people never get good at whatever they start, and then they usually give up. This is where you have a huge advantage. You guys getting access to tools, getting access to training, being in this conversation where we're talking about prompts and talking about how I've been evolving and learning how to talk to the machine. That's going to give you a massive advantage going into the future. In fact, it's probably given you a massive advantage already. We've got several people in our group now that are speaking at organizations, and they are the AI expert just from what they've learned here. And they are the expert. They're so far ahead of everyone else in their world that they are considered the expert in AI. So, in my world, in most cases, I am looked at as an AI expert. I don't see myself as an AI expert. I see myself as an AI beginner. I am just like every day, my eyes are opening to new information that I'm learning about AI. But in my world, I'm that far ahead of everyone. So it positions me as the AI expert. So you guys have that opportunity. When you are looked at as the expert in anything, people want to work with you. So you have a huge opportunity to acquire customers right now because of your knowledge of AI, your access to tools, your access to efficiency. Like, I don't know about you guys, but I am like 100 times more efficient right now than I was a year ago because of AI. I can generate graphics like laughably easy. I can generate video laughably easy. I can write phenomenal copy now in seconds that used to take me weeks. And guess what? When I can write copy in seconds, I'm a lot more motivated to write a sales page that can sell something versus putting something off that's going to be ominous and painful that I'm going to have to spend a week, pulling what little hair I got left out. So it just makes things a lot easier. So anyway, that whole user experience is kind of become the key for all of search. And with regular traditional search engines, We've been using that SitePop software to give it that user experience for over a decade now. And the amazing part to me is no other SEO person or anybody has replicated what we're doing there. It's almost like it's impossible, and I don't know why that is because it wasn't that difficult to do. I I just don't know why that hasn't been replicated. There were some SEO guys that made some cheesy stuff that was, when I looked at it, I'm like, that's going to get them banned. And it did. So that stuff doesn't traditionally last very long. The normal SEO providers, they're using, one trick willies and all kinds of stuff to get fast results that don't last. So anyway, to the AI, the point with the AI, the third piece to that is the same. It's the user experience. And like I said, we're going to query, we're rebuilding our initial Rainmaker software. And what it's going to do, it's going to query an AI model, whether it be a voice search or a chat GPT or a perplexity. It's going to randomly pick one. And it's going to go in and it's going to ask the question, who's the best pizza parlor in New York City? And when our customer doesn't come back as the answer, we're going to ask it why. We're going to say, have you considered Tim's Pizza on 7th Street? Here's their information. Please analyze this and let me know if it changes your recommendation. And guess what? If it does, job done. We just effectively changed the AI's mind. So the next time somebody asks who's the best pizza in New York City, it's going to come up and it's going to say Tim's Pizza is. Here's their address. Would you like to make a reservation? How cool would that be? And if it comes back and it says, no, we don't really believe that that's the best one, we're going with our original pick, then we're going to query it further and say, why is that? What about that pizza place is better? How did you come to this conclusion? And could you give us recommendations so we could optimize our content to take the number one spot? And it's going to tell us how to do it. And it's going to give that recommendation back to our customer so they can optimize their site further so we can continue to play the game until we can change its mind and lock it down.
Yeah, but what if it's the worst pizza?
Well, that's back to the ethics of SEO. And
Okay.
there's nothing I can do about that. I am going, yeah, and that is a really good valid question. And that has been the problem and the bane of the existence of the SEO world since day one. Because they don't care if they're the best. They're greedy and they just want the traffic. So hopefully I'm not teaching this stuff to those people. Hopefully you guys will make a commitment to me that you will only do this for good stuff. But I know as well as anyone that once the info gets out, you can't get the shit back in the horse. So you're probably gonna suffer at some point from this information getting out.
John, could you please explain what do you mean by social profile?
Social profile is like your Facebook profile,
Okay,
your LinkedIn profile. Most people have at least three or four. There's a bunch that you can have, and you should have them all. You should have all your
okay.
social profiles set up.
So it has to do with the social profile, not what's being posted on Facebook, etc.
Correct. Correct. It's your
Gotcha.
your
Thank you.
profile where you set up who you are. That's where you can put a bunch of content in there about you, like on a LinkedIn profile. You can put a ton of stuff in there, and a Facebook profile. Some are more than others, but that's how it works. And I believe even YouTube. I think YouTube, you can even optimize channels and stuff in there. You can put a lot of hidden embedded data in those profiles. So it's kind of like when you have a Photoshop file or any graphic file, you can put a lot of metadata inside the image that's never seen by the human looking at the picture. But when the machine scans the image, it can see the title, it can see the author. You can hide a bunch of data in there. And that's how you can optimize images. You can hide data inside the images that the viewer doesn't see, but the machine reading the image sees it. Because think about that, and a machine like Google could never look at your image. Google wouldn't know what was in your image. All it would know was it would know the text that was associated with the image, like the title, the name of the image file, any kind of hidden metadata that was hidden inside the image file itself. That's what it could read. That's what it could understand. Like, for instance, alt tags. If you guys have ever heard of an alt tag is meant for you to put what the image is so someone that is blind can read it. Like when they do the braille, however they do that, and they roll over an image, obviously they can't see it because they're blind, but the braille will be able to tell them what is in the image from the alt tag. So that's actually part of being ADA compliant. If you have images on your website that don't have alt tags in them, the ADA can literally sue you for you know, I don't know what they call it. It's like mental torment for their user group. So, it's a bunch of frivolous crap lawsuits, but it's a thing. They've actually gone after people for that. I don't think they typically go after, little guys like us, but not to say that they couldn't. But it's a good idea to put alt tags in just because of that, prevent lawsuits, but it also helps the AI understand what images are on your page. It also helps Google understand, the value of the content. So it's all these little things that add up. And most people don't want to do all this little nitty gritty work. They want somebody to put their website up and they never want to think about it again. They're not going to go through and they're not going to, optimize it and make sure that, their audience likes it and all that. This is one of the things I talked about this real early on when I started talking about AI, and then we kind of got away from it, but it's really important. If you want to optimize for your people, when you're posting on social, how many of you guys just post on social media and then you don't ever really look at it? If you're anything like me, your hand just went way up high right there. So what is important is when you post something, how many people like it, how many people view it, how many people share it. Like if somebody shares your post, that means they liked it pretty much. They want to share that with their audience. If they didn't even look at it, that meant it didn't resonate at all. Like 0 to 100, you got a big fat 0. So if you post zeros over and over and over, all of a sudden you are going to get banner blindness to your content. So whatever you post, it's just going to get ignored. So the idea of having AI to be able to predictively create content that your audience is going to like is a big appeal, because the more your audience likes your content, the more they're going to look at everything you post instead of ignore everything that you post. So let's say you went to AI and you said, "Hey, I want 10 posts for my Facebook feed." And the AI gives you 10 posts. And you post them one per day. And then you let a week go by. And then you go back and you download the results. You feed that back to the AI. You say, here's your scorecard. You're going to get a grade, and I need you to improve upon this grade. So all of a sudden now it sees the posts, it sees how your audience interacted with them, and it got a grade. You just told it if it did good or not. In fact, you told it specifically on 10 different points. It's now got 10 data points to decide what your audience likes and doesn't like. And do you think the next 10 are going to be any better? They're probably going to be 10 times better. And then you do it again, and you do it again, and you keep doing it until it doesn't get any better. And then you've got the best of the best of the best content that you can generate from that AI forever. Forever. When you go in there and you say, give me 10 new posts for Christmas time, or give me 10 new posts for Easter, or give me 10 new posts for my upcoming event, it's going to be totally dialed in to your audience, and it's going to know what they like. It's going to know how to get them to pay attention, and it's going to know how to get them to take your calls to action. The more data, think about feeding back your information to the machine. Nobody's doing this. They're, like I said, they don't know how to use AI. They're using it in such a rudimentary fashion that it's not really doing them much good. You, on the other hand, can come in here and just take full advantage of the whole thing. So, questions? I know we've got into some like deep, dark, hairy territory here with the whole SEO thing and optimizing for AI. Uh,
That's fabulous though. Yeah, I've been working through the ACT material and trying to go over to quantum and use that piece of it. It's like, well, how do you do that? And, okay, let's try quantum. And I got to one, and I was like, oh my God, I have no idea.
we use like the quantum tools, they're made to make things easier. Like for instance, when you get to the point in creation where you're creating a big idea, the quantum tool to create a big idea will make that super simple. Or let's say you've got a benefit and you want to three-dimensionalize it. You've seen the lesson in quantum, you've heard me talk about it, but it's like all of the stuff, almost everything about ACT is simple in nature, but yet it's incredibly difficult to implement.
Yeah, it's like I'm sitting there all the time going, well, how do I do that? I really don't know.
Yeah, and that's
Like
why I
creating your
built
avatar, I have no freaking clue.
yeah, that's why I
None.
built the tools. Like
Right.
I even made a workbook in the beginning. I made a workbook for people to actually create their avatar profile, and they still couldn't do it. They were just like randomly putting stuff down, and it probably wasn't right. It was just whatever was rattling out of their head at the time. But with the AI, it can actually do the market research for you in
Yeah.
seconds. Like
So
John,
that build a buyer tool that creates your avatar profile for you.
yeah, I've done that. So I got to the irresistible offer, and there's some stuff I'm like, so the input got that. Main problem, I think I figured that out from the build a buyer part.
Mhm.
Desired outcome, I think I got that also from the build a buyer part. I'm not totally sure these are, I'm filling in what's proper from where before, because you were talking about take them step by step, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Product, that came from some of that too, but the promise, no clue. Proof points, list benefits, retail price, offer price, on
So
and
the
on and on.
promise, the promise is the desired outcome. So that's you're basically making them a promise that they're going to get what they want.
So put that back in again?
So that's desired outcome. Like
Okay.
like for instance, in the big idea, one of the key pieces of the big idea is the promise. You're basically promising them the desired outcome, whatever that might be for what you're working on. It's like when I use the timeline in the ACT program, I talk about the timeline exercise. And the timeline is they are where they are. That's their current place on the timeline. And where they want to be is the desired outcome of already having what they want. They don't have it yet. That's why they're on the timeline where they are, and they want to be somewhere else.
Right. Okay.
And everybody's always, there's always a future on your timeline, even after you get what you want.
Yep.
Like you might be on a timeline that you're really hungry and, your desired outcome is to be full. And as soon as you get the desired outcome, you start getting hungry again. There's no end to it. That's where affiliate offers come into play. And you say, okay, once we've fulfilled, we've made the sale, what do they need next? How can we provide the next step and make a couple bucks there as well? That's where you get into lifetime value. And your lifetime value of your clients should be enormous. Even if it's only one thing that you've got to sell them, you can always hook up with other affiliates and provide their future needs and make money on it. That's your lifetime value. The more that you provide, the higher your lifetime value goes. And when most people look at a business, they're looking at how much profit they get on the sale. And I don't look at it that way. I look at that as that's just a client acquisition. That just got me one more person in my bucket that I can get lifetime value from. I look at my lifetime value of my wealth. That's where my true wealth lives. That tells me every person I drop in the bucket, maybe I'm only making $47, but my lifetime value could be tens of thousands of dollars. So how hard am I willing to sell that $47 product? If that customer is going to be worth tens of thousands of dollars across my lifetime, it's like all of a sudden now you will actually treat your smaller customers better because of that. Like most people go, oh, this person for 47 bucks, yeah, they get like 2 minutes of my time and I'm done. I'm out. That's a shitty user experience, by the way. Nobody is going to want to trust and work with you forever if that's how they're treated. So the idea that you can attach that every person that comes into your funnel is worth tens of thousands of dollars, you're going to treat them better. You're going to look at them differently. You're going to act differently towards them, and they're going to feel that. They're going to like it. And they're going to want to keep coming to you for more and more and more. So it's really important. That's an important distinction that everybody needs to really embrace is what is everyone worth across your lifetime, not the initial sale. And the other thing that you really need to embrace is taking part in figuring out what their lifetime journey looks like and attaching affiliates all the way through so you can help them for a lifetime. Those two things are going to change everything in your world. So, all right, Delilah, you got your hand up there.
Yes. Oh my gosh, this is all so exciting. Um,
You just never know where I'm going to go at any given day here.
I know. Wow. I can't wait until you're done with this product. And oh my gosh, I have all these ideas. Um, so you mentioned social media, and it's so funny because I feel kind of similar, maybe not as extreme as you do, but I kind of do. And I think it's more because of the time that it takes. Like I hadn't really been posting very consistently, I don't know, for several months on social media. But then I had a premiere of a movie that I'm in that just came out on over the weekend. And I found out about it like a week before, and I'd been traveling, so I just quickly had to put all these posts out. And then I actually had fun, creating some of the posts, but then oh my gosh, it took up so much time. I thought I can't be consistent with this. So
Yeah.
I remember you have the Franken AI, which I've not used, but I'm wondering, is that the way that you believe it's good to do social media optimization. Is that what you were talking about, or is there a different tool that you created in the quantum AI that I'm not aware of?
Well, with Franken AI, basically, it's kind of a program that runs on autopilot. It's a really good lead gen type of tool because people are really attracted to the idea of putting in a keyword and having it write a year's worth of content for you. But quite honestly, it's not going to be the best and best for you. You know, it's a good lead magnet, but that's really about what I'm using it for. I would say you want to really get an intimate thing going with the AI so it understands who you are, what your audience is, and then it can write those posts for you. And like I said, when you do that, let it score itself. Like bring the scores back to it so it can understand if it did good or not. And you won't know that until you put it out to your audience. And it won't know unless you bring it back the results.
Results is in how many people viewed it, liked
Uh-huh.
it, commented, and if they
Yeah.
shared it.
Yes.
Oh my
So
gosh.
when you feed that back, all of a sudden now it knows how it did rather than you just saying, yeah, these look great. Well, it's going to think, okay, well, next time I'm going to give her the same thing. Whereas if you feed it back the information, it can really tune into your audience and say, oh, well, it didn't like this, or, it did like this. And you can get it to really improve upon its contents.
And you're talking about using Perplexity for this or Franken AI?
Perplexity or ChatGPT or I think I've got, if I don't have it in there yet, I just haven't activated it yet, but I did have a thing that would create posts for you
Oh
in
yeah, we
Quantum.
need that.
And it might not be in there. I think I was playing around trying to really get it dialed in before I put it in there.
Cool. Okay, great.
So I
Um,
wasn't I wasn't taking my own advice with MVP.
Dang, I never even thought about giving feedback back to the AI about the results of the posts. I did notice some of my posts did significantly better than others.
Yeah, well, see,
Um,
when you feed that back to the AI, or even if you haven't even started with the AI, go back into your posts and copy the ones that did really well, and
mm,
copy the ones that did really bad too, and
mhm.
feed those into the AI and say, I'm giving you some history from my own feed of what my audience likes. Here's a post that got these results. Here's a post that got these results. I would like you to focus on doing even better. So analyze what they liked and what they didn't like and base your content recommendations upon that.
Oh my gosh. Okay, cool. Thank you. I'm
So
definitely gonna try that.
it's really, I mean, you're having an intelligent conversation with an intelligent being. And when you do that, you will get a very intelligent output versus just junk.
Oh my gosh, you're so right. And you know what's really funny? This is like okay, this is really interesting. You guys might find this interesting. I was at an AI, it was like a seminar for AI for acting. And this woman who was presenting, she just had a breakup the night before. So at the beginning, she talked about how she actually discussed her breakup with the AI, and she thought that it was like the perfect love. But by the end of the discussion with the AI, she discovered they really weren't a good match, and she felt much better about the whole breakup and was able to do the presentation.
That's awesome.
Anyway, I wanted to share that.
Yeah, but it is really, it's so cool. I don't know if you guys really understand what is available to you having this thing to communicate with any time of the day or night. It's like the ultimate brainstorming tool. You can learn from it, you can teach it, you can both together get better at anything. It's just like the opportunity. I've said this many times. I'm like, this is like the best time to be alive. I can't even imagine if my brother were still alive what the two of us would come up with this thing. I can't even imagine. Like I know what I'm coming up with by myself, but my brother, we bounce things off of each other and we were our brainstorming tools. That's how we grew up. We grew up like, how do you rule the world with the minimal amount of effort? And he's been gone now for 15 years. So I've missed that piece for 15 years. So you can imagine, how I'm shining now, having that back. It's really cool.
It is. I had an exceptionally overwhelming last week just because of everything that I had to do and all these deadlines before leaving town. And I actually thought after that lady shared about her relationship thing with the AI, I was actually thinking about sharing my overwhelm from last week and see what I could do in the future to restructure my schedule. Maybe I did too many commitments. I don't know, maybe the AI could give me some, introspection about what happened. But I'd like to prevent that from happening again so I feel peaceful as I'm going about because these are fun projects that we're working on. But I
Yeah.
feel like I was doing a lot, and I don't know. I'll let you guys know how that works out. But I'm thinking about getting some feedback on that.
Yeah, that sounds similar to like my year-end process where I like look back at the last year and I basically just ask myself, what did I do over the last year that I shouldn't do in the next year? And what did I not do that I should do? And that might actually be kind of a cool tool.
Hmm. That would
I'd
be
have
really
to
cool.
I'd have to think a little bit about how to format that and get that into a tool in Quantum, but that would be a cool tool to kind of plan your next year to make it so much more effective.
That's a great idea. Hmm.
And I guess we could probably just put the workbook in there. The year-end workbook, we could just fill that out, upload that into a tool, and I would be really interested to see what comes out.
Yeah, let's do it.
That would be awesome. I'm having way too much fun building these tools. And I know Pam's probably over there going, "Oh my God, more tools I don't know how to use."
Oh
So,
no.
Oh no,
Maybe
I feel like a kid with a toy box online, and this is just a really good toy box. That's
yeah.
I
Oh,
play,
and,
I
and
play with it.
speaking of new tools, have you guys seen the new WizGat tool? I
Oh, what's so good about that?
Yes, I talked
Thank
about
you.
that. I finally did it. I made it on Sunday. I'm like, all right, I got to get this thing done. It took like all of 10 minutes.
From what's his name? The Home
Ron
Shopping Network
Popeil.
guy.
Yeah, Ron Popeil. Uh,
Oh no, I'm thinking of someone else. He was at the radio station. He tells a story a lot. Anyway, go
yeah.
ahead.
So I based it on Ron Popeil, who was a really famous pitchman from the 70s. And his gift was to be able to take somebody that had a great product but couldn't sell it to save their life. And he would be the pitch man, but he would let the product owner make the pitch, which, like, you might think, oh my God, that's going to be a fucking disaster, right? Somebody that has no idea how to sell their stuff and they're going to come on live TV and pitch their product, right? That's a recipe for chaos. And he made a formula out of it that was spectacular and he called it WizGat. So what he would bring the person onto the live TV show and he would focus their efforts so much that they wouldn't be nervous because he would say all you have to do is answer my questions. That's it. You don't have to think about anything. That's all you got to do. You don't have to come in prepared with anything. So anyway, they get on there and the first thing he would ask is what's the name of your product? And they would say the name. And he said, well, what's it do? And then they would say what it did. And basically, you know how that goes, right? We don't really know what our stuff is or does. So we get into the whole features and benefits, and we avoid the benefits like the plague, and we talk about the features, and nobody cares about the features. Nobody buys your stuff because of what it is. They buy it for what it does. So they would say something like, oh, well, it's this. And he would say, "What's so good about that? Tell me, what's so good about that?" And then they would go into a little deeper of more getting toward a benefit. And then as soon as they were done, he'd say, "Okay, well, tell me what's so good about that?" And he would do that like 10 times in 30 minutes. And by the time he got to the 10th round, they were so deep into what this thing actually does for you that people had to have it. And they would buy it like crazy. And he would just take these normal people that didn't know how to sell their stuff, and they would sell literally millions of dollars worth of this stuff on live TV. And so, anyway, I took that formula and made a tool out of it. So you put in there, what you've got, what it does, and it will whiz-gat it out 10 layers deep.
Can't wait.
So it does the whole process. It doesn't just give you one whiz-gat. It whiz-gats it out and it does it 10 times. And I got to tell you, when you get to the 10th round, you are down to the real nerve of the system. You're talking about the buying triggers here. This is what's really going to move somebody to want your product. And that tool is done, up, running. It's ready to go. So it's really cool. You should definitely check that one out. And that's a hard thing for you to do. It's a hard thing for you to do 10 times of what's so good about that. And this thing does it in seconds. It's unbelievable. And then you can take the next thing. Like if you've figured out like five benefits, your five biggest benefits of your product, and you whiz got all five of them, you're going to get so much gold to put into your sales pages. It's going to be ridiculous. It's like you're going to know every good thing you should point out to get somebody to create demand and desire and want your product. It's going to be a game changer. And like I said, this stuff is so simple in concept, but it's so hard to implement by yourself. It's like that's why these big companies go to the ad agencies. They offload that work, that brain power, that creativity, because they don't want to deal with it. They know how difficult it is, even though it's simple and it's very simplistic in its pieces, but just hard to put the puzzle together. So a couple
John,
other things. I haven't got to this yet. And this is definitely on my plate. I got a lot of shit on my plate right now. But this is some pieces that are on my plate to make the whole ACT quantum bundle absolutely spectacular. And it's bringing in all the training into one bot that can do the whole sales process for you, like the whole sales letter, video sales letter, sales page, write the whole thing for you. And I've proved it out. I've proved it out that it works because I've gotten it to do it in Chat GPT with some very, very in-depth prompting. I just have to figure out how I'm going to have to probably attach the tool to a knowledge base. I'll build a knowledge base that basically is the whole ACT program. It's basically me and a knowledge base. And then I'll attach that knowledge base to the tool and then have the tool be able to access that knowledge base to do the work. And I'll be able to get it done, but it's going to be a much more difficult tool to build. So I'll get it in there eventually, but you got that to look forward to. Eventually, you'll be able to have the thing just spit out a whole sales funnel for you. So that's coming. Mariette, go ahead.
hi, John. Thank you
Hi.
so much again for all the incredible information you share with us. Honestly,
Yeah, absolutely.
really appreciate it. Um, I am not, I have not signed up for Quantum yet. Sorry, this is just a confession here.
Oh, no worries.
Is the WizCat that you just described part of Quantum AI?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
If
WizGap
I
is,
want, if I want to just kind of like look at, what's all involved in quantum, and you might have, mentioned it several times. I'm not on every week's call. Where can I kind of look at what's involved in quantum before I sign up?
well, we can do that right now.
Okay.
I can show you what's in there right here. So you see the screen?
Yes. Okay.
Okay, so this is the quantum control
Wow.
panel, and it's got a lot of tools in here. I mean, it could
Wow.
literally look like overwhelming at a first glance, and I've been adding them as I go. And you'll notice like there's new stuff in there. You probably have the people that have had it, they probably haven't seen the audiobook creator yet. This will create audiobooks for you. But the top row is pretty much images. If you need custom images, you can use any of these image tools. They all do kind of different stuff. Like this one is really good for realistic images. This one is good for like fantastic, like sensationalized ad images. This one is good for creating headers, like website headers for your sites. This one is a specialized tool. This is where you can take like 20 different pictures of yourself or somebody, and it'll create a precision image model, and then you can use that image in any scene, with any clothing, with any products, whatever you want to do, whatever you want to use it with. So it's a replicatable image model. And then logos, book covers, image editors, and then you've got basically four video tools to do video. This one's, you can literally put your website address in and it'll create a promotional video from your website.
Wow.
And then you got movie maker, movie editor, ad animator is an animated ad program, and then a couple of voice tools. This is just a file vault that holds all your files. But then here, this market segmenter, this is when the ACT tools start. And market segmentation is the first step of ACT. So that tool starts the brigade. And then this one will create your buyer profile. It'll tell you everything you ever wanted to know about your buyer. Competition, hears and fears is what your buyers are actually hearing and creating objections. And then buying triggers, lead magnets, all the way down the line, all the stuff, benefits, three-dimensionalizing benefits, eliminating objections, all the stuff that we work on in ACT. And then down here, the name it tool is, this is for branding. If you haven't created a brand yet, or you're creating a new brand or a new product or a new website, this will come up with a name for it. This will find you a domain that matches the name. This will create a color scheme for the brand. And this one will come up with like taglines and brand blurbs. And then you've got press releases. It'll write press releases for you. These are kind of SEO. There's three basic SEO tools in there. These three here are for music, to write ad jingles, a song. Like you can put your website address in and it'll write a creative song about your website.
Wow.
This one will do the same thing, but it'll write you a rap song. If you know, some people are, that's their audience. This one will create proposals, like business proposals. This one finds businesses that are advertising. Like if you want to know what businesses are advertising in a particular city for, like for pizza, if you want to know what pizza parlors are in the city and actually running ads, it'll tell you if they're running ads on Facebook, pay-per-click, wherever, whatever ad platforms they're running ads on. So that's a really cool tool if you're trying to sell to people that are, if you're trying to sell advertising to people and they're already spending money on ads, that's a pretty good indicator they're a good prospect. And then this one tells you who's running Groupon ads, zip code locator, and AA. Those tools are for our acquisition error clients for the helping them optimize their accounts. Card Whisperer is for greeting cards. Not really business oriented, but makes your life easier. Listing Pro is for realtors that aren't really creative as far as coming up with real estate listings for the MLS services. That solves that problem in epic fashion. There's the WizGet tool that we were just
Okay.
talking about.
Uh-huh.
This is another new tool here for affiliates. You can put in your affiliate product or your affiliate sales page, and this will create a bunch of affiliate sales content for you to
Wow.
promote any affiliate program. Kitchen Wizard will tell you how to make a gourmet meal out of anything in your refrigerator. So again, not business related, but makes your life simpler. Same with the Note Monster. That's to keep track of things. And community is just our internal community for people to share information about the tools.
Okay.
And then these three are for white label. If you want to white label this under your own brand and have a AI SaaS software to sell to your community, that's what those three are for. And
Wow, that's a lot. So I needed this yesterday. And would you say I should try to use this myself, or at least a few of these, or should I get an expert to help me?
you don't really need expert status with these.
Yeah. Yeah.
These are pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
You just put in, the image idea here, what format you want it in, and you can turn the art director on. Like what would you want an image for?
Now, I mean, I'm more interested in that, but we talked about this morning, just, I mean, earlier in the call about, the whole optimization of pages and all that.
Okay.
But I will look at all this. This is a lot of amazing
So
information.
I just put in beautiful spokesmodel holding a camera.
Okay, well,
We'll see what it comes up with. But basically anything you need, it can just pop it out here in a matter of minutes, if not seconds. With the text-based stuff, it usually spits it out like super fast. But
wow.
there
Yeah.
you go.
Wow, that's amazing. Yeah, that's clever.
And
That saves so much time for
yeah,
searching.
yeah. And if you wanted it to be a Nikon camera, you could just go over here and say Nikon camera.
Yeah. No, it's amazing.
And
Now,
that
it's a lot of information, but I'll try to start with one or two of those and just see how I can implement it or get somebody to help if I get stuck. But no, it's amazing. Thank you.
Yeah, I actually used it to create this girl to promote the Act Quantum bundle.
Wow.
So, I mean, you would spend money to go and, get a stock model or a photo shoot or
Yes.
anything, and you can have anything you want.
Yeah.
So it's really a cool suite of tools for
Absolutely. Thank you.
it'll do just about anything you want. If there's something that you want done that it's not in there, you can let me know and I'll build you a tool for it.
Yeah. No, thank you so much, John.
That's where most of those tools came from, was people asking, "Oh, can you do this?" So, all right. Anybody else? Anything else you want me to cover for today? I can't believe we've been on here 90 minutes already. Time flies. All right. Well, I will let you guys go back to your world, your AI or non-AI world, whatever you want to live in. Tim's falling asleep over there.
Thanks, John.
All right, guys. Well, have a great week, and we will talk to you next week when I'm back from Vegas. I'll let you know how all that went. And
Safe travels.
who knows? I might have
Enjoy.
more new stuff for you by then.
Have fun.
All right, guys. Have a great one. We will talk to you soon. Bye bye.
Bye-bye.